We have with us this morning on the show Sana Raees Khan. She's a renowned criminal lawyer, she's an advocate, and she joins us on the show today. We wanted to also highlight her voice because she speaks frequently on issues like this. Sana, thank you for joining us this morning on the show. Sana, before we go into deeper questions, I just want to ask you first, not just the incident that happened, but the conversation that it has sparked this time across the entire country. What are your thoughts on that conversation?
See, this is absolutely condemnable. And I mean, regardless of the stringent laws and legislations, these incidents are happening. So I think my prime message to all the girls and women in the country out there would be actually at this stage, despite of these stringent laws, is also additionally to learn self-defense techniques, to be your own bodyguard and to be able to physically be so strong so that, you can avert these situations, and at the same time also be mentally so strong that you can report these cases to set a positive precedent for the girls out there, for all the women out there. Because, such kind of situations, are absolutely unprecedented situations, because, it is happening in different forms and being aggravated with passage of time, like sometimes in a moving bus, now in a hospital. Like yesterday it was in Badlapur, a 3-year-old was raped and killed. And I mean, of course, you cannot even express, I cannot even express what I feel, and I totally believe that the accused in these cases do not even deserve legal representation, honestly.
So let me just
in
ask
such
you,
kind of cases.
let me just
and
ask
according
you,
to me, the only resort to this would be like death penalty.
Okay, let me just ask you, Sana, I want to ask you a few follow-up questions. There's been a big discussion around self-defense, many women arguing that what is the point of something like self-defense if it's, like the story we're seeing in Kolkata, multiple incidents we've seen in the past where there's the question of, are there multiple people involved? How much can self-defense help you in a situation like that? So I just want to ask you, Sana, what else do you think needs to change? That is how women can empower themselves, but what else do you think needs to change?
Yes. See, I feel obviously there has to be an improvement in economic condition of our country. See, the root cause of these issues also lies in the fact that that these accused and perpetrators have also been sometimes themselves been victims of abuse. And then, of course, these perpetrators come from backgrounds of poverty or economic instability, unemployment, or could be several other factors like unstable family environment. Then substance abuse, there's a correlation between sexual violence and substance abuse, and also there is correlation between exposure to pornography and sexual violence cases. And then of course this belief that of men to be able to exert power and influence and control over women. So this kind of mindset, this patriarchal structure, this mindset and this belief, and these misogynistic views of men to view women as objects and possession, over whom they want to exert control and power. This has to be, of course, changed, and the very root cause of primarily this can be addressed by, of course, by enhancing the educational opportunities and awareness in our country and employment opportunities, because these are the root causes why these things happen. Apart from that, also obviously, if you see legally, also there are many specialized courts have been established to deal with these cases expeditiously, because who are actually devoted only to dealing with sexual violence cases. And then of course there are now there are of course changes in laws where the victims have the right to be heard, and they must essentially be heard, and they must essentially be represented, and any application moved by the accused cannot be entertained unless the victim is heard.
Right.
But in addition to that, of course, the resources should be provided to the judiciary, to allocate to the judiciary, so that for speedy disposal of these cases, and also for unnecessary procedural hurdles should be avoided. And of course, timely adjudication of the sexual violence cases is extremely important to avoid backlog of cases.
Sana, I just want to stop you for a second there, because I want your context. We actually spoke to other experts over the week on this issue, and that's one thing they keep saying, that the thing that needs to change in our legal system is the amount of time it takes to look at a case, to make a judgment on a case. So just explain to our audiences, Sana, since you are so familiar with the legal system, is it a lack of finances primarily that is making the judicial system take such a long time, that's made the judicial system the way it is? What are the changes that need to happen within it?
See, I believe that in such cases, of course, it is extremely essential each step in the legal process, right from investigation to hearing, has to be conducted so meticulously so that the justice is upheld, and hence, of course, the judiciary. Of course, there are procedural delays because the cross-examination of the witnesses have to be extremely thorough, availability of the witnesses, and also high burden of proof. So because of these, there are these factors, there are delays. But these delays can be definitely avoided. As I said, there has to be a strong legislative reform by introducing timely adjudication of these cases, which will definitely help in expeditious disposal of these cases and to, of course, reduce the backlog of cases. And yes, I believe of course, there has to be allocation of resources to the judiciary. I definitely believe so that so that the backlog of the cases are reduced, and the judiciary can handle such cases more efficiently and more effectively, which is not happening according to me. And of course, I believe that these procedural delays can definitely be averted with a specific time frame given for expeditious disposal of cases, like such cases be made time bound, especially in POCSO cases, with sexual offense against children. There are guidelines that and there are sections that states that such cases should be disposed of within a year, but it never happens in practice because of the backlog and because of the overburden of the cases of the judiciary.
Sana, can I ask you one? Can I just ask
yes.
you one last question? Right in the beginning, one of the things you said was that you believe that this is something that even capital punishment should be used, and this time that's the call we've heard again and again. A lot of people saying hang rapists, but I do want to say there's another lobby of prominent legal experts, judges, lawyers, human rights activists who say that capital punishment is not the answer. It'll do away with one or two bad eggs, but it won't change the system. Education is actually the final answer. What are your thoughts there?
See, I believe education, as I have already mentioned, education, employment, and of course these, and of course even introducing these self-help programs, like for especially substance abuse, and also for like how I stated regarding mental disorder. Sometimes this could be also due to mental disorder, misogynistic views, or it could be a lot of factors. But other than that, in such cases where it's a prima facie case of rape, where that it has been done in such a manner that there is no other punishment other than death, for example, in such case. Because see, I, being a criminal lawyer, also defend individuals sometimes in cases where it's called rape case, but it's case of consensual relationship between boyfriend and girlfriend, where the ex-girlfriend registers a case against the boyfriend. In my opinion, those are not rape cases. But then comes the category of such cases that are prima facie rape cases, where that this is what has happened is actually shaking the system, society, and our conscience. And in such cases, I think only setting an unprecedented punishment, deterrent approach is absolutely essential. I believe that such accused should be hanged to death, and other than this, there could be no other punishment for them to actually. Of course, there can be no complete eradication, no doubt about that. But with the reporting of these cases, with amendment in these laws, and with such punishments being delivered, I believe that there could be, in the long run, of course, there will be a positive change in the system, and that will definitely set a positive precedent in the society.
Sana, thank you for bringing us your legal opinion, for answering our questions, the pushbacks that we gave you here too today. Thank you for joining us on the show. Okay.